I'm going to review an end-of-life strategy. Oh, wait, not for me, but for my bourbon. Let's get to it. Welcome. Another fabulous episode of IBF On Demand. I'm your portfolio optimized host. Not really sure what exactly that means, but I'm your host, Eric. You can find me at eric@ibf.org, eric@ibf.org. Thanks for the follows, the subscribes. Find me on LinkedIn, YouTube, Tinder, wherever you get your podcast or you want to find me. Thank you, Arkiva, driving business transformation by solving what others cannot. Thank you, Arkiva. Today, we're diving into the exciting realm of product reviews and how they fit in an S&OP process. And with that, real quick, I do want to say IBF has a free Can't Beat the Price maturity model at ibf.org. Check out the maturity model. You can actually see how mature your S&OP process is and see what you need in a product review. It actually looks at multiple dimensions. It will benchmark you against your peers and what your best practices are. There's 4 levels: emerging, essential, next level, and vanguard. Find out what level you are. There's over 3 years of research that went into this to actually develop this maturity model. So it's not consultants or a software company saying, this is what we want you to do because it fits our model. No, this is what you tell us you do and what you are seeing results at. So it's a great model built on IBF practitioner experience. Check it out, ibf.org, the free maturity model, or you can get a more in-depth maturity model assessment if you want from IBF as well. You can check out how you can do that as well. I said today we're going to talk about the product review aspect of an S&OP process. Generally, if you Googled S&OP and what exactly the steps, everyone's going to see those 5 basic stair steps. It starts with data gathering and then goes to a demand review and then supply review, then a pre-S&OP and executive S&OP. Over the next few months, I'm going to hit some of the 4 main reviews that actually we see now through our research of what exists in a next level or above type of S&OP process. And real quick, first one, when you look at data gathering as that first step, only 3% of organizations that are mature organizations say they do a formalized data gathering step. Now, that said, I'm by no way saying data gathering is not an important step. I'm actually just the opposite. Data is more important now than when S&OP started 30 years ago. Data is actually even more important now. What I am saying, though, it's no longer a formalized step in the process. It's now part of every step, part of your daily life. If you still have a structured data gathering step, then you're a little bit behind still, because really data is something you deal with, govern, and be able to feed insights on a daily basis now. So we've gone beyond the step of a formalized data gathering. There is a start and stop. There is some, aspects where people have to gather certain informations every period because of a new period that's starting. I get all that. But we're going to start with product review as our first step in our process. And when you look at the research now, mature organizations, companies that have improvement on EBITDA, forecast accuracy, inventory turns, they're seeing measurable results. What they do is over 50% of them have a structured product review, portfolio review, something of that sort in their S&OP process. So this is what we're going to call the first step in our cycle. That said, it's generally in most organizations it falls at the end of the period. Reason being is because it's least dependent on new information. Well, demand review is generally the first of the period, first one you're going to see in a new period. It's most dependent on fresh information. Product review is less dependent on fresh information. So it falls at the end of a period generally for most organizations. That said, it generally kicks off the next cycle. because it is important as far as setting the strategy for demand, understanding what sales and marketing and the company are going to focus their resources mostly on. So it really sets a lot of the strategy for demand. So it's important as a first step in a S&OP cycle. But I said it falls at the end of the period for a lot of companies. Product review or life cycle process or portfolio management, they're not new. We've been talking about them for well over a decade. IBP, when it came out as something new, just a new branding. But when it came out, it mentioned product as one of the steps in as well. So we've been talking about product as a step. I said what we've seen now, though, is that it over 50% of the organizations that are next level above actually are doing it now as a structured cadence, a structured process. So I said, we talked about it for some time, adding it to S&OP. Actually, the difference, though, is we're now actually seeing it happen. So what exactly is a product review? What are we talking about when it comes to product review? I said it could be a brand, looking at portfolio. There's a lot of different types of terminology for it, but basically what it is, it's a venue to help analyze the health of your current products and product pipelines and look at your current portfolio and where you're going to concentrate your efforts, be able to emphasize and de-emphasize in your portfolio. So it's product planning. In essence, when you look at all those things combined, this, for an organization, is your brand strategy. So the goal, output, focus, if you wanted to take everything we just talked about, a lot of the textbooks about product review, what it is it's a brand strategy. That's what you're trying to come up with as an output for a product review. It's portfolio planning, which changes your planning to existing products, updating with new products, looking at your new product pipeline, what's coming in, what your quick hit plans are as far as volume, timing, financials, reviewing slow moving and end of life products as well. All those things are incorporated into your brand strategy. It's taking the strategy from your executive, what your executive S&OP, what your executive's company strategy is. It's taking that strategy and building on it to make a brand strategy that guides demand and supply decisions. Remember, S&OP is all about a decision-making forum, not just the executive S&OP. Every step along the way are decision-making forums. You're feeding demand, you're feeding supply, decisions that are being made. And with that, the decision that's being made is the product or brand strategy that helps guide those as well. So when you're looking at the inputs then into a product review, you're looking at what exactly is that business strategy. Do I have a cost strategy, which is going to be important if I'm creating a brand strategy? I want things that's going to emphasize my margin. I'm going to look at SKU rationalization to help from a component standpoint to minimize the amount of components that are coming in or can be utilized in different types of SKUs. All those things help if I have a cost strategy. If I have a customer intimacy strategy, well, guess what? I want things that are really value-based to the customer, that they see value in, that are really being able to help being innovative type product, maybe something of that sort. If I have more of a cash strategy, then I also, once again, I'm going to look at SKU rationalization, but also I'm going to look at minimizing my portfolio offerings and being able to have a smarter type of offering that I'm providing. These different types of strategy are going to feed different types of brand strategies as well. But one of the major inputs is going to be the business strategy. Now, even though I'm feeding demand and supply decisions, they're also an input as well. Understanding what's happening in the market, understanding what's happening with the customer, demand signals coming in from the prior S&OP cycles or their information is critical to help guide decisions in my brand strategy. Supply, I already mentioned, if I have a cost strategy, I need to understand cost. I need to understand efficiencies. What is causing, complexity in the supply chain? That helps me from a brand strategy then as well. So even though I'm feeding demand and supply, there are also inputs maybe into my product review as well. My current product channel mix performance, I need to understand that. How is my current decisions? How are they performing? What kind of results are we seeing in the market right now? Are they reacting the way I thought they would react in the market or the customer as well? Product forecast and what constraints? Those are different inputs from demand and supply. New product pipelines. If I have a stage and gate process or what is in my pipeline right now from a new product perspective, what do I have to work with and what's coming down the pipeline to be able to help feed the next generation of products that are needed to give. So I'm going to be looking at my product life cycle then as well as an input. Where are my products in the product life cycle? Those are inputs as well. Not only do I look at new products, but I also have to think of what's going away. When I look at that product life cycle, what's at the declining phase? What's it going towards the end of life? Those I need to understand then as well. Product market activities. How has the market changed? I mean, COVID is a perfect example of that. We need to have those inputs as far as customers are more now going to e-commerce, going online. My customers are changing their buy behaviors, which means they want to look different packaging maybe. They want to look at things differently. All these packaging decisions, consumer purchasing behaviors, what do they look at? What's going on in the market? All those things will influence my brand strategy. So all those things are inputs into my product review. What then are my outputs? I mentioned the ultimate output then is going to be my brand strategy. But it's going to be update on brand, mix, product families. It's going to be update to all those things. My portfolio. It's going to be an update to my portfolio. It's going to be SKUs that are being introduced, SKUs that are being phased out. Don't forget about that phased out part as well. It's going to be R&D. Well, real quick, when I mentioned that phased out, when you go back to SKUs that's going to be introduced and phased out, think about cannibalization. You're not introducing every SKU is going to be incremental to the company. You're going to have an impact on other SKUs. You're going to have impact on other channels possibly. So think about those as well. How those, and that's where demand planning and forecasting really play a collaborative role with the product review then here as well. But beyond that, think about R&D. What's in the pipeline? Where are we going to put the new product development budget? We have money as a function to be able to spend as well from a product review, from a marketing, from a brand. Where are we focusing our dollars? And where you focus those dollars make an impact to the results you get. Those impact to the results you get make an impact to demand and supply as well. You can see how this all fits together and how this becomes that first step in the S&OP cycle. Risks. You want to identify risk as well. Comprise of multiple variables such as market, technical risk. If we're having this introduction process, new product, what's the risk that it may not go to market on time? That's an important risk to understand from a demand and supply aspect. Which programs deserve the biggest investment? Where are you putting your money? Where are you putting your focus going forward? So with that, we have our inputs and outputs. We have our structure for our product review. What are we going to do while we're in it? What are we going to talk about when we're in our product review? Now, like every review, demand, supply, executive, there's a lot of things leading up to it and a lot of things that come out of it. The review itself is collaborative. You're building consensus on what the brand portfolio strategy should be. And you're doing maybe a lot of things outside of this meeting to bring in the right information to make those decisions. Now, in addition to decisions, you are reviewing certain KPIs. You're reviewing certain things to see, hey, if we're on track. Those things are done in every type of review as well. So when you're looking at the kind of the meat of a meeting itself, yes, there will be KPIs. KPIs maybe such as velocity. You maybe look at inventory. You may look at your total SKUs from a SKU rationalization. So SKUs, total profitability of your SKUs, gross margin, return on investment is a phenomenal KPI I've seen incorporated into product reviews as well. Market share, customer metrics. Are you meeting the customer? Besides just on time and full, are you meeting what type of things they want? So there can be a lot of different KPIs that you really focus. Understanding what the strategy and what you're trying to decision, your KPIs should match those. And your KPIs should match your kind of planning horizon and strategic type horizon that you're looking at in these type of reviews as well. Obviously, I said, if you're bringing in new products, you want to look at some type of stage and gate process or something similar to that. Stage and gate process is a formalized process that sets up formalized stages with a gate that you have to meet before you get to the next state, like an ideation. Then it goes to in development. Then it goes to some type of product plan, and then it goes to introduction. Generally, there's 5 or 7 different stage and gate processes, depending on what type of structure you have. But some type of review process for that pipeline of new products that are going to be introduced, and the ones that's going to be phased out then as well. That can become part of it. It sees if you're on track. It helps measure where you are and helps inform people of what's currently in the pipeline and what's coming as well. So it's a good thing to discuss during a product review as well. Managing the product plans. You have certain decisions that were made in the past. Managing those plans as far as revenue, profit versus strategic alignment versus certain assumptions you had, if they're still on track. All those things are important to say, yeah, we're meeting what we said we were going to meet, or something has changed. We need this new input. And then comes the product management analysis. SKU proliferation is a good thing. Understanding SKU, the number of items you have are impacting uncertainty, variability, supply, complexity. All those things impact an organization negatively. So there's a positive side as well of having a wide variety of products to offer your as far as being able to offer the customer, being able to have a depth in your product portfolios. All those things are important, but there's a negative. Balancing those as far as SKU proliferation, managing that is an important aspect as well. Pricing and distribution strategy. This is where the decisions come in. What is your pricing? What is my distribution strategy? What is my portfolio strategy? Which items are going to highlight? Those become the decision. This becomes the meat of what a product review is. So the next thing I want to touch on then briefly then is who needs to be in this meeting. If you followed me by now, you know I love the RACI chart, responsible, accountable, consulted, informed, the acronym, being able to identify who needs to be involved in any meeting you have to have the right people involved. Like any other review we have, you don't want 50, 60, 100 people in this meeting. You want the right people in the meeting. And ideally, that's going to be anywhere from 8 to 15 people or so, or enough people you can feed with 2 pizzas, however you want to look at it. But you want the right people in the room. You want the right people on the bus. And looking at that acronym, who's going to be responsible? The responsible people are going to be the ones that can make sure the plans, the decisions are carried out. That's going to be my brand. That's going to be a portfolio or product manager. That maybe in marketing. It's someone who has the oversight of the budget for what, the marketing, the product portfolio, what you're going to do as far as emphasize, who owns that budget and who can ensure the outcomes happen. Said in different companies, it could be a VP of product, VP of brand, VP of strategy in some organization. It may vary, but who owns that budget? Functionally. The next is going to be the accountable. The accountable are generally going to be development managers, business development managers. Could be marketing managers, could be product managers, could be someone, but it's going to be whoever the development managers are. The ones that help bring the different inputs, the outputs, helps manage the meeting itself, and helps drive to a consensus of what you're trying to accomplish. Those are the beginning people accountable. Consulted, this one's the easy one. I'm going to have not only other key brand team members, but demand, supply, financial representative, because business runs on finance as far as decisions, like it or not. So we need to have them intimately involved as well. Those are to be the consultant. Who's the informed? it's the flip side of the consultant. A lot of the consultants are also informed. Demand, supply, those are finance. Those are big informed. But anybody else that might need to be informed as well. There may be some marketing activities that need to be informed. There may be some, e-commerce platform people that need to be informed as well. Those may need to be informed as well. So think of it as that way. Who's the responsible? Who's the accountable? Who's the consulted? Who's the informed? There's one other person that may be or should, I wouldn't say may, should be part of these reviews as well. That's the meeting facilitator. This is your S&OP champion. And yes, a next level and above has a designated S&OP champion owner that oversees the entire process, helps facilitate these meetings, helps coordinate the communication before and after, helps drive the conversations towards consensus, keeps the agenda, people on point to the agenda. That's what the meeting facilitators do. They may not be a product expert. They may not be a demand expert, but what they are is they help facilitate the process as a whole. They need to be in this meeting then as well and help and actually are running the meeting per se. So I mentioned the product life cycle planning, and real quick, when you're looking at that, when you're looking at a stage and gate process, it's based on a product life cycle. We're bringing in new products, we're end-of-lifing products. And the stage and gate process is that pipeline feeding what the new product is. And it could be kind of idea generation, scoping, business plan, really when you get into production and then go to market. I'll say a lot of things as far as a post review of it as well, which is always great to happen. But what you're trying to do at each step is understand what items are involved, and I think of it as a funnel that's coming into the final launch of a product. Not everything may make the funnel, and that's where the gates are. Not everything may be feasible. When you're looking at the scoping, doing a feasibility, it may not be feasible. When you're looking at the business plan, it may not meet the business objectives this year, and so it may not meet the right plan. So not everything makes it through the funnel to the end. But it's important to have that and see where items are in the pipeline. I mention this once again because when you're looking at a product review and bringing this in, if you have a formalized stage and gate process, or if you have something similar where you have certain things where a funnel, at what point do you bring it into the product review? Think of this like a demand review, like a supply review. We're thinking at a time horizon of 3 months to maybe a year and a half out. Okay, that should answer a lot of your questions. What's coming in the next 3 months or the next year and a half that demand, supply, the business needs to be aware of? I'm not saying everything's set in stone, but we need to be aware of that. So when you think of your stage and gate process, think of it that way. We're making decisions outside of our normal planning horizon. We're making decisions as far as maybe capital expenditures, people, things of that sort, that these things may impact. So when you're thinking about what to bring in, what's at that extended planning horizon, 3-4 months out to an extended 18 months, 2 years, what in that pipeline that I need to talk about? That's what you need to bring in. What detail do you need to bring in? Once again, we're talking S&OP. It's aggregated plans. We're going to introduce this product. I may not get into the details of how many customers, what exactly the forecast is. No, this product is going to serve this need, and we expect this kind of revenue from it. It's going to impact these. Those are the type of conversations you can have. The details, those should be worked into demand plans. And then the aggregated version of those results are then focused on in the demand reviews. So think about aggregated level out an extended planning horizon. That's really what we need to talk about. And I've stressed this before, and I'll stress it again. When you talk about new products, you have to think about the old jalopy that's still in the garage that's not drivable anymore. That old product, how do we get rid of it? What's the phase out? You can do equally the same things you did on a new product. Think of it for your old products as well. What products are we going to segment, identify that may need to be getting rid of? Which ones are we going to determine the impact to our our P&L if we get rid of this, or impact to our cash flow if we get rid of this, because we may have inventory we need to write off, something of that sort. What items are going to be phased out? When are we going to phase these out as well? Think about that. Are things that impact us in the next 3 or 4 months, towards the next year and a half? Have those discussions as well. SKU rationalization is another big one to talk about. Which items are impacting us from a cost, which impact us from a revenue, which items we need to focus the most attention on. SKU rationalization is a great thing to fold into a product review as well. Ultimately, when you're building your product review, the same tenets, the same things we're focusing on in an S&OP, we need to focus on in a product review as well. It's all about consensus. Getting a single corporate product or brand strategy, including the product review as part of the S&OP process, is an intricate part of demand, supply, allows control of your own destiny then for the company as well to meet your business objectives. But building consensus is key. Collaboration. You're not doing this in a silo. It means you are improving the demand, but you're bringing in demand, supply, finance, other people you're impacting. You're getting improved company process. You're building across functions of what's going to be best for the organizations. And finally, transparency. It's brand and portfolio management. It's not operating in silos. I said it's realistic, complete review of strategy, performance, including slow-moving items, what new products you have in the pipeline. It's transparency as well. So consensus, collaboration, transparency, the same thing I hype on for an S&OP are important for a product review as well. Well, that's a wrap. I hope you got something out of it. I want to do a whole series on product, demand, supply, executive. May even get into an S&OE once again. But the key aspects of an S&OP cycle I want to touch on individually. I started here with product. Hopefully you got a little bit of something out of it, and hopefully you'll be able to incorporate a product review into your S&OP cycle then as well. If you have any other questions about product review or you want to know more about it, reach out to me or comment below as far as what you want to really focus on in some of these review processes in the future. Well, as far as me, I'm going to go create my own personal brand strategy, see how that works out for me. My name is Eric. You can find me at eric@ibf.org. That's eric@ibf.org. I want to thank Arkiva for driving business transformations by solving what others cannot. Thank you, Arkiva. And thank you, IBF, as well. So this is IBF On Demand. These are IBF podcasts. I want to thank them for allowing this venue to help educate you. And once again, if you're looking at product review or any part of your S&OP process, IBF has a free maturity model. Check it out at ibf.org. It's a wonderful maturity model. It's unbiased, so it's not like a lot of those other maturity models you have out there. This is a totally unbiased maturity model based on our research of what companies are doing and doing well and getting tangible, measurable results from. That's what's we built this. There's multiple dimensions. It compares you against what exactly your peers are doing. It also compares you against what best practices are. And did I mention this? It's absolutely free. So check it out, ibf.org. Free maturity model, product review, demand review, but all the other people, process, data, analytics, technology, multiple dimensions it looks at. And it's self-guided, helps you understand. So it's a self-assessment. If you want something a little bit more than a self-assessment, IBF would do that as well. I've actually gone into a lot of organizations and done a third party. Once again, unbiased. I don't have a dog in the fight. Unbiased assessment of your current processes. We do that as well. Done multiple ones over the past few years. Once again, the foundational pieces are based on our research and what these maturity model is. The only difference is we add a lot more dimensions, and it's a third party. We look at your actual data, look at your KPIs, and we'll benchmark you against what your peers are doing. So if you'd like more information on that, check that out at ibf.org as well. Well, remember, one of the biggest strategies in your personal brand, don't forget, wash your hands.